What is happening, troops, and welcome to the first episode of the Creator Community League. Yes, it's been a long journey up to this point, plenty of drafting to be done, plenty of things to be ironed out with the database, but finally we are here for our kickoff episode, and I don't know about the rest of you, but I am very excited about this going forward. And yeah, so we're just going to jump straight into it today. We have a couple of things to look at just in general about the league. We have a game to go through, and it'll be the kickoff of the season. So there is plenty of good stuff coming in this episode today. Now, if you're new to this channel, you can see I have my introduction for the CCL in the description below, but in short, this is a 16-man creator competition, and we all each drafted players to our team throughout all of us, and we're going to simulate through the league using tactics that's been specified by each manager. And I think the first thing that I wanted to look at, and it is something that the people that follow me on Twitter had a look at, but maybe not everyone else has seen it. So I just wanted to look at the pre-season expectations. So this is what the media thinks is going to happen, and I am being completely and 100% unbiased, but I think they've got it right. Just saying. So number one they have is my own team, the Oblique Ramblers. They have as 3-1 favourites, which is a ridiculous odds to have for that. They are really confident in a win here. Maybe a little bit more so than the rest of us. And then we have Bayern Munchies and Custard Donuts taking out the 2 and 3 spots. And then if we look towards the bottom, we have our relegations and then Wepu Attack and RB Keebs. And I guess you could chuck Hoof FC in there as well, as they are predicted to finish with the same odds. But that's some interesting stuff throughout there. There's some teams I think a lot of us expected to be a little bit higher. I think maybe Donmaster Rovers a bit of a surprise at 10th for me. I felt like they had a really strong team, especially their wing backs. That was a really good pickup for them. I know that the Waterloo Hotspur team from Old Lady Plays, I know that that's going to be 41 and it doesn't look like they're going to get high, but the game's not going to take into account that they have, she is aiming for the dynamics of it and trying to create that while the rest of our teams struggle to catch up. So she has that edge as well in her team. I'm not surprised at all about Bayern Munchies being up there. They have an extremely solid team, and of course the Oblique Ramblers, the idea behind my team was just to get all that age in and get all that experience in, so that's probably why they are going to be so high. But some interesting stuff there, and looking over at the media Dream 11, it is insane some of the players that have been left out of this. The likes of Mbappe isn't anywhere to be seen. Hazard, there's just so many great players. Up front, they're going for a 4-4-2, so that will change things a bit as well. But up front, you have Messi and Ronaldo, zero surprises there. That was always going to happen. You've got Neymar, De Bruyne, Sterling, and a surprise one, I think that's Bernardo Silva that's in the middle. Or is it? Yeah, as I've got thrown off by the 40 names there. Yeah, I'm kind of surprised to see Bernardo Silva in the middle, to be honest, compared to who else is available here. You have David Alaba, Sergio Ramos, Virgil van Dijk, and Joshua Kimmich all on the back. That is a very, very solid backline. Imagine having to play in a game against Ramos and Van Dijk there. Luckily, they've been split apart throughout this. And another surprise to me is that Neuer is the key player. I'm not even entirely sure I consider Neuer to be the number one goalkeeper at this point, so that is also kind of surprising to me. But there's some good stuff in there. You can see the quality throughout this league is just insane, and people are really going to have to nail their tactics to be able to get an edge over each other, because it's going to be a close one because we all have such a solid team. And the next thing we're going to look at today is the matchups for today's episode. They've got a little bit here, but I'll jump in and get a nicer graphic. And here we are. This is the lineup for what we are playing today. You have Bayern Munchies versus Waterloo Hotspur, Cornish Marauders versus Wakefield City, Custard Donuts versus Wepu Attack, Donmaster Rovers versus ABT Boys, Fletcher Jets versus RB Keebs, Hoof FC versus Relegation Athletic, Oblique Ramblers versus Shithouse FC, and the Cookie Collective versus How I Met Your Mata. Now, the game we're going to be looking at today, which I drew at a complete random number, is Hoof FC versus Relegation Athletic. So we will look into those teams in a little minute, but there is something as well before that I wanted to look at, and that's that today is also the day we get the draw for the Community Cup. The Community Cup is our other competition that everyone's part of, and it's your straight up knockout tournament between all 16 teams. So we're going to look at the draw for that, because while in the league you can take a loss or two, you cannot do that in the Community Cup, and that'll be coming up real soon. So we're going to do that draw as well, and we'll see whoever gets picked. And here we are waiting for the cup draw. I'll just do them one at a time, going through them, and I won't break them down too much because we're going to have those matches in the future anyways to break down. So just firing these out, we have Cornish Marauders will be taking on Oblique Ramblers. Shithouse SC will be taking on RB Keebs. Waterloo Hotspur will be facing Bayern Munchies. Relegation Athletic will be facing Mwepu Attack. Fletcher Jets will be taking on Donmaster Rovers. Wakefield City will be taking on Hoof FC. ABT Boys will be taking on How I Met Your Mata. There's some really interesting ones there. The one that I feel that immediately jumps out at me and as a proper top table clash would be Waterloo Hotspur versus Bayern Munchies. I think that one is going to absolutely set in fire when that plays, and that's two of the absolute top teams throughout this competition, so that is very interesting to see. I'm not actually too sure if either of these teams are going to be facing each other in the first game of the season. I could maybe try and check that, but it might be a little hard to remember. And I knew why it jumped off at me, because Bayern Munchies and Waterloo Hotspur are also facing each other in the first game of the season. So in the first two games, we're going to be seeing Bayern Munchies versus Waterloo Hotspur, and that is very interesting because you're going to have to see the team making some adjustments after the first one, because yeah, that's going to be a tough two games for each of them. The good part is that they are away in a home, so we will see at least an even split between them, and if Old Lady Plays can get the win in the first one, you have to think playing at home will be a big advantage coming in to the next one. So with the two teams we're going to be playing today, we are going to be playing with Relegation Athletic and Hoof FC. So what I wanted to do is just jump in and we'll look through a couple of the facts of each of those teams and get a kind of comparison going. There's some really interesting stuff that I saw specifically with Hoof FC, some stuff that you don't necessarily think about. So first things first, is that the oldest player in the entire competition belongs to Hoof FC, and that is Mr. Zlatan Ibrahimovic. It is just such a credit to this player, the fact that he's a striker and he's still able to be in a competition like this. You'd think it would have been a goalkeeper, but nope, Zlatan managed to sneak his way in there, and he is the oldest player in this entire competition. That is pretty interesting. Yeah, I'm really surprised it's not any of the goalkeepers at all. And there's some other things. If we look here, average age is not Oblique Ramblers, despite what everyone thought. It's actually Hoof FC have the oldest in the competition at 29 years old, or 29.39 as that would probably make a difference. They also have the tallest team in the league of 6'1", and they have the heaviest team at 12 stone 10 pounds. I don't even remember those days in my life being 12 stone 10 pounds, but nonetheless, we can move past that. Another statistic Hoof FC have in their locker is that they have the best heading and also the best marking, I believe. So I'm not entirely sure what the difference between these are. It is telling me Hoof FC has the highest marking in the technical sense, but it's telling me they do not have the highest marking in the defensive sense. I'm not entirely sure how marking can ever not be a defensive thing, but yeah, you can see there's something there. If you have something to break that down, by all means go ahead and get your own assessment from it. Another one they also have is that their goalkeeper has the best command of the area. That's going to be a big one going forward, because the goalkeepers, I don't know, they're wild cards in this, because you don't know if someone just took on a bad goalkeeper, is that going to make a difference, or is every goalkeeper a bad goalkeeper when you stick them in front of Mbappe or Ronaldo or Messi? We'll have to see as this progresses, because we just all kind of assume the goalkeeper is going to be such a big deal. And swapping over to avoiding relegation, to have a couple of statistics as well that are of note from them. First up is that they, in the mentals, are an absolutely dominant team. They have the highest composure, concentration and decisions of every single member of this. Someone must have lost some determination in the last day since we saw the cup get released, because this was top when I wrote down my information earlier. So someone in Shithouse FC has become determined, or someone in avoiding relegation has lost some determination. But alas, they do have an extremely solid mental team, especially in these aspects, the composure, concentration, decisions. That just shows that they are not going to slip up out here. Avoiding relegation's team are coming out here to focus, get their head in the game, and Relegation Athletic are going to be contenders if they can let that translate onto the pitch. Another really interesting note to compare is that Hoof FC actually have the lowest decisions in the league. So we have the highest versus the lowest here, and if some bad decisions are going to be made out in this pitch, I don't see Avoiding Relegation's team not making them pay for that. That is definitely something to look out for in Hoof FC. Another one small aspect of this is that the lowest free kicks in the entire league are in Relegation Athletic side, something they didn't really think about or didn't really try to add on, so it will be kind of interesting to see if free kicks become a big factor throughout this competition. And the final thing, and I can't remember where it is, so I'm not going to try and look for it, but that Hoof FC has the lowest average player value as well. So Hoof FC went for some under the radar names. They didn't go for the players with the best stats, and as a result of them being the tallest team, they also have all the advantages when it comes to heading and jump and reach over everybody else. So they really match their name, is what I'm trying to say. They are trying to hoof that ball up the pitch and get their tall, lanky players to get those headers in and use their strength against the opposition. And here will be the team the Relegation Athletic is looking at using today. And you can see there's a couple of interesting areas, but the big thing first to point out is that Sander Berge is out injured. He's out for a couple of weeks still, 3 to 6 weeks, and that is an unfortunate one. I'm pretty sure Berge might have been starting lineup for them, if I remember right. Actually, when I look at the team, I think Jorginho and Henderson would have to be the players you put on, so maybe, yeah, it's just a substitute then. But yeah, it's someone that's going to be missed. We have, going through them, Chesney, Daniel Alves, Hummels, Kimpembe, which will probably be spelled exactly correct, Daley Blind, Raheem Sterling, Henderson, Jorginho, Di Maria, Martinez and Icardi. Now, going through these, the couple of players that are jumping out at me, and obviously this is just subjective, this is just what I'm seeing off of it. I think the main players I'm looking at will be Sterling, Henderson, Di Maria and Hummels. I think the thing to look out for Hummels here will be the headers in the box. He's fantastic in that area, and I'm thinking that when you've got players like Di Maria and Sterling around, there's a very good chance they might be able to bang that ball in and get it to his header. He's just such a big, strong player that is so hard for people to deal with him, especially on those free kicks and corners. And Raheem Sterling is very well known now. I'm surprised he's playing just a winger. I'd maybe think with his finishing ability, he could play an attacking or an inside forward. But this is what Relegation Athletic are going for, and you have to say they've got a really strong team. They have the two up the front. Martinez as well is another player to look out for. He's fantastic, kind of under the radar youngster, and he is someone to watch out for. I don't know if Icardi is going to be quite as much of a threat. I think what they might be looking for with Icardi is to try and distract him from Martinez, who's going to get all of the goals in. At least that is my assumption. And Hoof FC's team is on the screen right now, and again, the thing to point out here, and it's a huge risk in my opinion, is that Luis Suarez has been selected to play this game despite coming in with a knock. He's currently injured. We'll just have a little look to see what the extent of the injury was. So he was injured. He was only injured for 2 days, just with a tight calf. Still though, you don't really want your players going out there with any sort of knock whatsoever. So that is a big risk that Hoof FC is taking, especially in the first game of the season. In my opinion, they should have definitely stuck on Zlatan. He could have done a job in that position, and we could have protected Suarez for another day. But alas, another surprising thing is that Lee Cattermole, the captain of Hoof FC, is actually sitting on the bench. He has not been selected for the team, and I don't think it's necessarily a surprise, but it's something to point out as the captain of the team that he isn't even in the starting lineup. We do have Pepe there though, who's the vice captain, so at least they've got someone with some sort of authority. They are playing quite an interesting strategy with the diamond in the middle. And I think in the centre, they do have some really fantastic players. Perisic is someone that's standing out to me. I think he should be quite a threat on that left wing. And Casemiro, he's a really solid defensive midfielder. He should have some really good stats in the tackling and marking department, which he does. So he is someone that I'm sure they're really confident in the Hoof FC side is going to be able to hold up the other players. It looks like Acuna doesn't have the best familiarity on this left side, so that might be something going forward. I'm not sure if they had maybe a better option. They didn't, so it doesn't look like there's that much depth going on for the left hand side of defence for Hoof FC, so that might be a downside, and that might be something we could see being exploited. And if you've got Raheem Sterling in your team and you don't have the most confident left back in the world, I'm not entirely sure I'd be that confident in my team not taking goals in. But as we saw, we do have that commanded area from Hoof FC, and hopefully for them that'll be enough to keep the ball out of the box with their big headers and their goalkeeper managing to dictate how that's working. So that is your teams for today. Alas, we have got through them, we've broken it down, and this will be very interesting to see what goes down. One last thing to look at is FMT's Hoof FC are coming out with a positive mentality, and Relegation Athletic are coming out with also a positive strategy. So two teams that are going to be confident in themselves here. They're both going to come forward. Hoof FC is predicted to finish very low in this league. They are predicted to finish right next to the bottom. So you'd think Relegation Athletic being the 5th pick team, they are going to be really confident in their ability to win this game. But we will jump into it now, and you will hear my commentary voice kicking off in just a couple of moments. Another thing I wanted to look at was, for the benefit of all the other teams that are playing today as well, is the players that are going to be missing their first game of the season. Now, something to point out here that wasn't before, because there was a day or two that I didn't realise still had to be recorded, is Pepe has picked up a knock for Hoof FC. He is expected to return in 1 day, but he will take a knock in this, so that might make a difference, and he is their vice captain, so that could hurt them. But looking through this, these are the players that are going to be missing, or at least a little bit damaged, and we'll look at the ones that are more long term and are definitely going to be out. So top of the list, Cookie Collective have a heavily damaged team. They have 3 players. All of them are expected to return around 3 weeks later, and yeah, so some big knocks there for their players. That's going to be a real problem for them coming into this game, having that many players off. Custard Donuts also have 2 in Christian Eriksen, although Bernardeschi should probably be able to play. There's a big loss in Joe Gomez for Doncaster Rovers. Anthony Martial is out for Wakefield City. Moussa Dembele, who is just a substitute, is out for Oblique Ramblers. Cesar Azpilicueta, that is probably how you pronounce it. He will be out for this game as well for Bayern Munchies, which is quite a loss for them. Patrick is out for Shithouse FC. I think he's just a substitute though. And a solid player in Thomas Partey is out for Mwepu Attack. So there is a couple of losses there, but other than the Cookie Collective, I think everyone could be a little bit happy about the teams they're able to put forward for this. But yeah, you never really know. Like, there could be some really big losses there. You never know. Say take a team like Oblique Ramblers, if it turns out that Ronaldo gets injured, who are you putting in front now that Dembele's injured? So with the amount of players each team has, you really can't afford any of these injuries, to be honest. Hello there ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to today's game in the Community League between Hoof FC and Relegation Athletic. We have two absolutely fantastic teams for you here today between these teams in our kickoff of the season. Now there's a couple of notable absences from today's games. You have Sander Berge from the Relegation Athletic team. He is unable to make it as he's out due to injury, and another notable miss from the Hoof FC team is Pepe is not going to be playing today because he has picked up a knock as well, so that means they don't have their captain on the pitch as Lee Cattermole is currently sitting on the bench. Today's game we are expecting, based on the bookies, are thinking that Relegation Athletic are going to be the ones pulling away in this game. They have high hopes for them, expecting them to finish 5th this season, while Hoof FC are expected to finish 14th, but with the same odds as both 15 and 16. Now we're expecting a great game of action today, and hopefully we see plenty of goals for the folks at home. We have Relegation Athletic in the blue, and we have Hoof FC in the purple and black. And as this is the first time we are looking at either of these teams, we're not entirely sure what to expect from either. It does look like Relegation Athletic's assistant manager kicked off to a bad start, hasn't been given the best advice to his team, but they are in the attack here. It's out with Dani Alves out on the right hand side. He's probably going to pass it back in here. Martinez gets the ball, good position. They're just holding up for a second. Perisic gets the ball back in a good position there. Acuna just clears it up the pitch, goes just straight back into the middle, back to Relegation Athletic. But you can see how many men Hoof FC have behind the ball here. They're all in defence. Raheem Sterling gets past his man. It gets blocked. Di Maria opts not to go for a shot. Back out to Blind. Fantastic tackle there, but Blind keeps the ball. Jordan Henderson gets tackled in a great position. Casemiro spearheading the counter-attack here. Ball goes forward. Luis Suarez. We've got some rumours that Suarez is coming in this game with a knock, but he's in here. Ball goes in. Lukaku! Just over the bar. That was a fantastic counter-attack from Hoof FC, and that is something for Relegation Athletic to think about, as they had all of the momentum there. They were pushing forward, and next thing you know, they have an opportunity back. Icardi gets the ball in the box from the free kick here. Is able to do much with it. Di Maria outside. Ball back to Blind. Good space. Henderson. Lovely shot. And it is saved by Nick Pope. That was a fantastic opportunity. And you have to think Henderson is going to be a real threat just sitting in that centre position with all that space. You can't give him that opportunity. Di Maria with the corner in. It goes to Kimpembe. I'm going to get that name wrong the entire time. I apologise. It's my first day on the job. I will get better as things progress. It looks like all the possession so far has been with Relegation Athletic, but the shots have been evenly distributed between both teams. Raheem Sterling picks it up. That was quite bad defending there by Acuna, and it's a header. Di Maria goes right over the bar, unfortunately, but we are seeing some wing play from Relegation Athletic come into effect early in this game. Lukaku gets the ball here. Cuadrado gets a lovely cross in, and it goes down to Perisic, and it's in! Hits the post and it goes in! It's 1-0 Hoof FC, upsetting all of the odds. That was a fantastic bit of play there, and what a cross from Cuadrado there, you have to say, right down to that far post, and it just sits perfectly. Perisic, who finishes that with absolute precision. He couldn't get a single centimetre wrong there. Awkward angle, hits the post, no chance for the goalkeeper. 1-0 Hoof FC. What a start in this game. That was absolutely brilliant. We also see Marcel Sabitzer on Hoof FC side pick up a yellow card early in this game. That's something he's going to have to watch out for, but he is only in the centre, so hopefully that isn't something that's going to come up too often. Daley Blind with the throw here. Goes to Jorginho, picked up by Sabitzer. Again, Relegation Athletic have too many men behind the ball, leave themselves really open. Not a lot of speed from either team here. Sabitzer just waltzes right into the box, gets the shot off, and Chesney gets a hand to it. Fantastic run from Sabitzer, and you have to say he got some good power in there. It is a foul from Sterling. You have to say Relegation Athletic are reeling here. They are feeling the pressure. Suarez with the cross in. Deddy! Just wide. This is fantastic start from Hoof SC, who no one thought was going to win this game, but they are playing an absolute blinder. We just see the pace comes down a notch when it's the Relegation Athletic. They like to keep it calm. Di Maria out the wing here, lovely ball in, that was fantastic. Sterling goes for an ambitious volley, doesn't go anywhere, and again we see another counter-attack. Perisic here, got a million men behind him. Relegation Athletic are giving him no space anymore, but you have to say they're looking a bit anxious here, Relegation Athletic. And we are playing out from the back here with Hoof FC, and the Casemiro seems like he's just in a lot of space to get those passes, almost like a Mazzella from the defensive position. Back to CasaZuSalzburg, he's been playing well so far today, looks a little shaky, lovely tackle by Blind. Nengolan gets it, I believe that's his name. Cuadrado, back to CasaZuSalzburg again. Are we going to see a cross come in? We do not. Di Maria gets a good counter attack started with that tackle. Goes to Accardi, up to Martinez at the front. Lovely little ball, maybe could have used more power. Henderson with a beautiful ball to Sterling. Sterling, and it's in! Sterling has evened it up, equalled it. That was quite bad goalkeeper from Nick Pope there, letting his man get a little bit too close, and Sterling has finished it, converted that opportunity, which you have to say was all set up by this beautiful pass from Jordan Henderson here. Martinez could have done a little bit better, but the first time touch from Henderson gives it to Sterling, who just effortlessly goes around his keeper and slots it into the net. Fantastic. We are 1-1 all square today. Hoof FC, Relegation Athletic. And we're immediately back into a highlight as we see Hoof FC trying to spearhead something else to come back into this game and get the lead once again. Quite a bad pass from Suarez there. You wonder if that little knock that he's coming in here. We've heard that he had some pains in his legs a little bit. Perisic again. You cannot ease around this guy. Gets into the box. Quite a bad shot, but Perisic just keeps picking up the ball in these good positions, and Relegation Athletic are just not looking out for him. I think they're thinking he is an attacker, he is going to be up front, he's on that left wing, you're not going to get tackled by him, but he has that ability in him to get the ball in those positions. Dede plays it back to Nick Pope at the back. He's just holding up the play a little bit here. This is the first time we've seen Hoof FC maybe not throw everything at the game straight away. And the ball is sent down. Kind of a dodgy header from Perisic, but he does keep possession. Lovely ball forward. Suarez picks it up just on the outside of the box. Crosses in. Lukaku, and it's in! Hoof FC get a second goal. Lukaku converts that nice cross by Suarez. Very calm, very collected, and it is 2-1. Hoof FC, Relegation Athletic are reeling. That was a lovely ball from Acuna there, who had some questions into his ability in this team coming into the game. Suarez, just very controlled, very measured, should I say, and Lukaku, you can't give him that opportunity to get the header in. He's a big, strong player, gets the header in. It's 2-1 Hoof FC, and the fans are going wild at the home stadium today. And looking at the possession, they've managed to bring back the possession. It's very even now, very equal. The shots seem to be all on the side of Hoof FC, so you can't even say they are smash and grab in this game. CasaZuSalzburg, we have another counter-attack here. That was a terrible shot though, absolutely awful from CasaZuSalzburg. He has to do better to do something in this league, but you have to say these counter-attacks are absolutely stunning from the Hoof FC team. I don't see a lot of pace in them, but it also looks like Relegation Athletic are lacking a little bit of pace as well, so there's very slow, controlled works from Dede! Lovely into that far side, and unfortunately it was offside anyways, but Chesney is not going to be happy about what his defenders are doing out in this game. They are not defending the goal enough, they are not protecting the back, and they are just getting completely cut through every time. Again, another counter-attack straight off the back here. Nengolan just takes it off of Henderson, the captain as well. Henderson is. But Henderson, okay, that's why he's the captain. He came all the way back with his man, managed to get the ball back. That is what you want to see out of a captain. That hard, strong work rate. Suarez picks up in a fantastic position. Relegation Athletic have so much work to do in this team to gel properly. Goes back out to Casemiro, long shot! Just over the crossbar. Fantastic bit of play there. Suarez, very, very calm in this game. He's not really trying to be aggressive in his approach. And it's just the exact same opportunity every single time. Relegation Athletic cannot defend these tackles, and Nengolan has been absolutely stunning in it as well. He's going for the shot. Lovely! Just over the crossbar. this is some amazing performances coming out of the Hoof FC team. Between Nainggolan, Suarez, Sabitzer, we are just seeing some fantastic bit of play. Casemiro as well. And you have to say that Relegation Athletic are grossly underperforming here. A 6.4 rating for Martinez, 6.4 for Daley Blind. This is just not what they wanted to see out of their debut game of the season. We have it coming from the back here, goes out to Cuadrado on the right hand side. Casemiro, it's so much space every time. No one is anywhere close to Casemiro. That is us started the second half. Apologies, I thought we'd just started a new highlight. We're in the second half now. There are no changes being made yet. There's 2 yellow cards in the Relegation Athletic side, and you have to say that is just going to be down to them getting a little bit frustrated. There's another yellow card picked up for Hoof FC there for Perisic. That's unfortunate. He's been having a good game so far. And another tackle, this time it's Sabitzer. Even the wingers are getting these tackles in. Again, spearheading this counter-attack, completely beats his man. Will he get shot off? He does. Chesney just gets a hand to it. Fantastic. Absolutely beautiful counter-attacks. Every single one of these players in the Hoof FC team knows exactly what the game plan is. Brilliant strategy there from Relegation Athletic to stop the corner. That was absolutely fantastic. I don't think I've quite seen a strategy to block corners quite like that so far, so that was really good. And you wonder if that's something they've game planned coming into this, that's going to be a problem for anyone trying to get their corners off. Goes to Di Maria here. Di Maria goes back to Jorginho. They've got some good space on that left hand side, which they haven't been able to find so far, but Henderson does. Beautiful, gets it out. There's Blind here. Will he get the cross in? He doesn't. He cuts back, goes to Jorginho. They're going to be hoping they don't get that counter attack happening once again. Back to Blind, header to Di Maria, and there we go. It just happened once again. Suarez picks it up from the attack. Lovely ball forward. Lukaku is one-on-one. Chesney manages to get a hand to it. Beautiful stuff from the goalkeeper, and even better stuff from the Hoof FC team. They just, every opportunity you give them, they are converting into something dangerous. And Relegation Athletic have so much work to do. Specifically, they are strikers and not getting tackled. Maybe not having as many men behind the ball at all times. Casemiro just misses his tackle. Henderson, he's a little bit too relaxed on that one. I think he would have to okay with a little bit more power to get it in at that range. We are seeing the Relegation Athletic pick up the possession again a little bit, but you have to say they're not really doing too much with it. Martinez here, back to Alves, who's going to be looking to get that cross in. Probably switch it back. Martinez with the cross, and it is cleared by Casemiro. Back out to Henderson. He has been quite dangerous outside the box. Nainggolan gets it. Header, it goes to Suarez straight away once again. Suarez, is he going to finish it? He does not. Chesney has been brilliant in these one-on-ones today, and you have to say, without Chesney in goals, you don't know where Relegation Athletic would be. They would be multiple goals down. They are just not able to contain anything about the strike force. As soon as Suarez seems to get the ball, he just manages to set that ball right at Lukaku's feet every single time, and say likewise in that attack from Lukaku. Jorginho has had a bit of space, but he's done nothing with it whenever he gets the ball. Blind here gets it, crosses in. Martinez doesn't get the header in, is back to Accardi, can switch it back. Goes to Di Maria, they should have left that for Henderson to bury, in my opinion. Goes to Henderson now, Sterling. And the tackle's missed this time. Acuna does not get the tackle in. Is that going to be costly? Henderson goes for that long shot, does not get it in, and the ball is out for a throw-in. There is a substitution happening from the Relegation Athletic side, and it didn't come up there. Apologies, I will let you know. It is Ben Yedder that is on, and he's immediately making a presence here. Sterling almost gets the shot off, and it is cleared, and it is sent out. Sterling not done much, but oh, that is a terrible tackle. He's already on a yellow card. Are we going to see a man sent off here? We do. Nainggolan, after a fantastic game, is sent off. He is no longer part of this game, and that is a massive loss for Hoof FC and a huge boost of confidence for Relegation Athletic in this game. Accardi with the header just goes over, and I expect us to see Relegation Athletic going all out attack here and going really hard. It was Lautaro Martinez who's been brought off for Wissam Ben Yedder, and hopefully on the Relegation Athletic side, that is a sign of their intent to go on the attack, to swap their attacker who hasn't been playing too well. Lee Cattermole is on, the captain for Hoof FC, the man that their manager FM Tahiti is so big on, such a fan of this player, and we will see if he's able to add a little bit of confidence to his team as the commanding officer of that locker room. We are seeing a little bit more of a calm play there from Hoof FC. Maybe that's just because they're ahead now and they don't want to do too much with it. Suarez, is he going to get it? He does not. Malo takes it at the back. It must be another substitute. Chesney with the long ball up, and it's picked up by Cuadrado to Sabitzer. Ball goes forward. Lukaku manages to pick it up out on the wing. Can't do anything with it. Bad footwork all round from there. Daley Blind to Jorginho now. Are they able to spearhead a counter-attack here? It goes out to Raheem Sterling, who hasn't had the best game, but he has been the number one attack. Acuna, lovely tackle, completely sends him onto the ground, and it's back again to the Relegation Athletic defence, trying to do a counter-attack of their own now. Lovely touch by Sterling, gets past his man, lovely shot, and it is just wide of the mark. That was a lovely touch from Sterling, showing a little bit of quality there. We do have Hugo Malo and Francesco Akrebe who's just came on. We are seeing Kimpembe and Daniel Alves come off. That is kind of surprising to me. I'm not sure why Relegation Athletic are looking to make all these defensive substitutions at this point in the game. Maybe a lack of commitment and passion to get those players behind the ball, especially with a man down on the Hoof FC side. We're coming into the closing moments of the game here. There will be only a couple of minutes added time. Hoof FC are 1-0 or 1 goal up. Are we going to see any late drama, or is this the end of the game? There's a late free kick here. Di Maria, ball goes in. It's cleared by Dede. Suarez picks up in a good position. Is he just going to clear? Is he going to try a run? He does hold it up, and the game is over. Hoof FC have upset all of the odds and have made themselves one of the top teams to look out for in this competition. Their counter-attacks today were absolutely stunning. You have to say that Relegation Athletic could not handle them in attack whatsoever, and every single time Hoof FC got a great tackle in, the entire landscape of that play was changed. We had some great performances. Lukaku has picked up the man of the match, and other people, I feel like, even though their ratings might not suggest that, I think that other people to look out for there is Acuna, played fantastically getting those tackles in. Casemiro played quite well. Sabitzer, Suarez was stunning up front. Ivan Perisic was fairly solid as well, and even though he got red carded, so we won't see him in the next game, Nainggolan also had a really good performance in spearheading those counter-attacks. We didn't even see half of these players in Relegation Athletic. Where was Hummels the entire game? Such a commanding and authoritative player, not even on the pitch in my opinion. Didn't see him once. Icardi was completely silent for the entire game. Jorginho didn't do much with the ball whenever he had it. There just wasn't a lot coming out of that side. Chesney, in my opinion, might have been the best player on the pitch for Relegation Athletic, and he is the only reason we didn't see this game end with a bigger lead. So that was a fantastic kick-off from Hoof FC. All credits to them. That was a brilliant performance, and I cannot wait to see what happens with each of these teams as we go forward. Thanks for joining us today with this game, and we will see you next week when we play with the Community Cup, and we have some great games there also. At this moment, I just want to add in that I know we have a lot of creators, and some of you might want to do your own breakdowns of your matches from this week. So what I'm going to do here's a little spoiler warning. After this, we're going to talk about all the results that happened, and from that point I'll break it down. So you're going to see all the results, so if you want to break it down yourself and not know what the result was beforehand, just cut off at this point and then I'll catch you after you've watched it. Yavin Wepu Attack managed to pull off the win, Hoof FC managed to pull off the win, and there was the other one which was RB Keebs managed to win, and then I'm pretty sure Shithouse FC are at least somewhat of an underdog, so they managed to pull off a win as well. So looking through these, you can see there was one game, you could argue there was 2 games of the week, they had the same amount of goals in them, but there was the top 2 on the screen here: Bayern Munchies versus Waterloo Hotspur and Cornish Marauders versus Wakefield City. I've watched through a little bit of these games, watching the kind of key things, and the thing to point out in the Bayern München team was that they were rapid, they had so much fight in them as well though, it was just non-stop kind of going. As you can see throughout the stats here, they were 3-2 down, and in the 74th minute, Griezmann manages to hammer home a goal, which is in our top goals of the week, so Griezmann manages to fire that one in, and then the 86 minutes, they managed to pick up that crucial 3 points, and Waterloo Hotspur are going to be devastated about that. And then below, it was an absolute, marauders is the word for it, because they absolutely destroyed them. Wakefield City got torn apart by Cornish Marauders, and Sergio Aguero picking up that hat-trick. That was absolutely fantastic. And the two players to point out here, Ryman names, I think they rhyme anyways, is Sané and Mane. Both of them just looked absolutely outstanding. They just set up Aguero perfectly every single time. There was a penalty in there as well. And Oxlade-Chamberlain's goal, what a goal that was. Top goal of the week and everything. Absolutely fantastic. Beautiful bit of play. Yeah, it was just fantastic performance from Cornish Marauders, and they deserve everything from that. Then you've got Mwepu Attack versus Custard Donuts. Mwepu Attack expected to come, I believe, 15th. Custard Donuts, I think either 4th or 5th. And Mwepu gets that 4-minute goal and then holds off for the rest of the game. Absolutely brilliant performance. Sewell gets a header from inside the box, if I'm correct. And yeah, just a brilliant win for them. They're really going to need these big wins to be able to stay and solid in this league. But you have to think Custard Donuts will be devastated about that. Donmaster Rovers versus ABT Boys. You had nothing much happened except Correa with a terrible tackle. 10 minutes in, it was tackle, 2-footed from behind, shocking tackle, and then Muller gets the opening goal, 74 minutes. Donmaster Rovers goes, I'm not taking that line down. Straight away, Haaland gets a goal, and a little interesting note is Haaland actually didn't start this game. And one thing to point out, there was an injury in the Donmaster Rovers team. Jovic got injured up front, and Haaland came on as a sub, so that's a really good start for him. But then Koch with an absolutely outstanding goal in the injury time. Brilliant. ABT pick up a great win there. And you've got Keebs versus Fletcher Jets, and I have to say, Keebs team ran away with this. They absolutely looked brilliant throughout it, at least in the key highlights that I've seen. You had Edward and Ncham both looking extremely dangerous, which considering the team they're against, I've struggled sometimes with Celtic against the likes of St Mirren, so Keebs managing to pull out an absolutely brilliant win there. That's huge for that team. Fletcher Jets going to be devastated about that. Of course, we had Hoof FC versus Relegation Athletic. We did watch through that, but yeah, Hoof FC really, really dangerous on the counter-attacks. They are someone to look out for. Of course, my team has fallen by the wayside. Big favourites to win the whole thing. Absolutely torn apart by Shithouse FC. The second biggest win of this week. And Shithouse FC get the 2 early goals, 2-0 up. Oblique Ramblers were scrambling from afterwards, and even when they did get a goal, just 9 minutes later, Shithouse FC gets the third, and yeah, just hammers it home. Complete destruction from them. Great win from Shithouse SC, and maybe putting them as big contenders. And then you've got this final game. Obviously, Cookie Collective were really set back with some big injuries. They did get a little bit of luck with the Devridge own goal from How I Met Your Matt's team, but it was quickly evened out by Aubameyang's goal in the 75th minute. So that was an evenly matched game. A nice little goal by Werner. Good little passes inside the box. It just fell out of my top 5 of the week, but yeah, some really good stuff from everyone. So we'll have a little look at the league table after that one, because that obviously makes a difference. So looking here on the left hand side, you can see ABT Boys. Obviously this isn't working on goal difference, I believe. That's something, to be honest with you, I never worked at the start. Hopefully it doesn't come through, because if it does, it might be a case of us just having to do a manual game or something to be able to decide it, because I don't want it to not be decided by goal difference. At this point, we've already played this so many times, I'm not doing another run of the database. We've already came and recorded a whole episode before I've noticed this, so hopefully that's not going to be an issue going forward, and it's something that will get evened out by itself, hopefully. If not, we'll need to figure something out at the end, maybe a couple of games against each other or something. Or maybe we even just pick the one who won on goal difference. We could even just do it manually, because if it's available for us to do that, I'll just make the precedent now that we are including goal difference even if the league table doesn't. Yeah, so some surprising names down towards the bottom. I think Relegation Athletic, Waterloo Hotspur and Oblique Ramblers are the big surprises in the bottom four. Some of the other ones look a little bit like you maybe would have expected them to be. And then you've got up towards the top, Cornish Marauders are the number one team of the day, but Shithouse FC deserves a shout out as well because that was a really big win for them. Arguably maybe even a bigger one considering what they were up against. So yeah, some big surprises, an entire week of upsets I feel. And when you just look at the stats of it, Sergio Aguero, number one player of the day, 3 goals, top rating. Fantastic. You can also add in Messi there, who managed to bang himself in 2 assists and get in the top 3 ratings. That's really good as well. Couple of yellow cards in there, 2 red cards, which would be even a bigger issue. But yeah, it's Douglas Costa and Sergio Aguero are the top 2 goal scorers, the only 2 that have scored over 2 goals, and that is brilliant to see. So I'll jump into the schedule for a second because our next game, we will come back for it. Mostly the way this is going to be working is we will skip a week at a time, but because of this, we will come back for the next episode, which is in the Community Cup. And these are the matchups from that. Again, some really interesting ones. I think now, after we saw that first one, I think Cornish Marauders versus Oblique Ramblers has just became extremely interesting. Waterloo Hotspur and Munchies, because they scored all those goals, another one that's really good. You have 2 teams that scored their upsets in Keebs and Shithouse going through. But as you know, this is a knockout tournament, so you're going to see 8 of these teams sent packing at the end of this round. Following that, I think we'll skip the following week. So we're going to skip the matches you're going to see on your screen right now. So these matches, we will do a quick recap of them in the following episode. So that'll be episode 3. But the ones we're going to come back and watch live are going to be these ones here. So some interesting matchups there from the looks of things as well. But I think we're going to learn a lot more before that throughout the next 2 weeks of games. So thanks for watching, guys. You know this is a huge initiative for all of us. We're all really excited about it. Leave me any feedback on how I'm presenting this and everything down below because that's going to be really useful for me. This isn't just a series on my channel. This is something that has 15 other people have investments in it, so I want to make sure that I'm really presenting it as well as possible. And thanks always, guys. Thanks for tuning in to the CCL, and we will see you next time in the league.